Talking all things entertainment, this is Sherri Pullum in the studio with Dreamers Unite. How to make an award-winning film with no budget with television producer and filmmaker David Levin. Hey Dreamers, and welcome to In the Studio with Dreamers Unite. Well, you know that I am always so grateful and honored every time you come to spend time with moi. And this is the place where we dream, share, and manifest. And I do that through my wonderful, amazing, and talented guests. And I try to catch as many nuggets as I can from their expert advice, their experiences, and just their overall knowledge and wisdom. So as I talk about this expert advice, I have a gentleman here today that is a film producer, an Emmy award-winning film producer, writer, and director. And he started out as a producer at MTV, and he is now has independent projects, including Viral Vignettes, which is going to be at the TNEC International Film Festival coming up in November. So without further ado and without delay, I want to bring on my very special guest, David Levin. Welcome so much to Dreamers Unite.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I am glad to have you. So let's just dive right into Viral Vignettes.
Well, Viral Vignettes began in March of 2020. What were you doing in March of 2020? Everybody else was kind of like, oh my God. My wife sort of saw this coming down the pike. And by the time we got to the point where everything closed, which was March 12th or 13th, I think, I said, oh, we're going to be stuck for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So what can I do to sort of make this a little bit more fun for me? My wife was working from home, so that was all good. My daughter was in kindergarten, and she started having to go to school virtually. And I had always wanted to make a movie. I'd been working in TV for my entire career, and I'd started out wanting to make movies. I had written some scripts. A couple of them got optioned. None of them got made. And so now it felt like, okay, it's the end of the world. If I don't make a movie now, I'm never going to make one. Because it kind of started feeling like the end of the world. It felt like the beginning of one of those apocalyptic movies that you see, a science fiction movie. Little did we know that how much would happen. Little did we know all the stuff that was going to happen. But I said, well, maybe I can make a movie. I had been doing streaming. I had been doing streaming using Skype and FaceTime. This is before anyone had a clue what Zoom was. And I had been doing some things called Ask Them Yourself. I have a web series called Pop Culture TV on YouTube. And I had been doing things like bringing on guests and having them talk to people, to audience members. So audience members could call in using their Skype or FaceTime and talk to famous people. That was starting to get a little bit of traction, and that was kind of a cool thing. Of course, my heart was still in wanting to do scripted content. Never got the budget, had all the equipment, had friends, had great director friends, great writer friends, great actor friends, famous people that I had met over the course of my career. And I said, well, let me call Donnie Most, who was from Happy Days. He's Don now. He played Ralph Malph on Happy Days. And I said, what do you think of making like a couple of short movies, couple of short films, 5 or 10 minutes? He said, well, sounds like fun. We're home. Nobody has anything to do. Nobody has anywhere to go. Let me make a couple of phone calls. You make a couple of phone calls. I called some friends who were writers. I wanted to direct. I said, what if we created one-act plays? Okay, people were doing talk shows from their living rooms, and they were doing concerts from their bedrooms, and they were doing stand-up comedy from their basements, and SNL was doing stuff, and the talk shows were doing stuff, but all of them were doing political comedy. I didn't want to do political comedy. I just wanted to do stuff that anybody could watch and not go, oh, that's so far right. Oh, that's so far left. I wanted something that people could just watch. And nobody was addressing what was going on in that moment. What was going on in that moment where people were stuck at home and the only way to talk to anybody was over the phone or using Skype or using FaceTime.
Right.
Okay, this is pre-Zoom again. And so I said, well, what kind of conversations are people having? And I said, okay, what if these are conversations and we made them into, instead of sketch comedy, little one-act plays, 5 to 10 minutes. I said, if we're going to get actors to do this for free, they have to be good.
Yes.
They have to be, if we're going to get like name actors to do this, they have to be good scripts. And so I put out the word to some friends, and we got a lot of scripts. Not all of them were good, but some of them were great. And we got one guy had never had anything produced before. Another guy was a well-known playwright, Fred Strappel. The guy who never had anything produced was a guy named Kurt Fried. William Bickley, who had been a writer for The Partridge Family and Happy Days and Love Boat and Step by Step.
Wow.
And Family Matters and I think Perfect Strangers, wrote an episode. So I said, okay, we'll do one every week. And so the first one was done before the end of March. It was shot, and what I did was I knew that I couldn't pay the actors, and I knew that there were rules with SAG and AFTRA. And I wanted to pay the actors, but we had no budget. And I said, well, what if we did this for charity? And my wife was very smart. She said, you know, the Actors Fund is a really great, very reputable charity. They're now called the Entertainment Community Fund.
That's right.
Let's get in touch with them and see if they're willing to sort of, you know, they were like, yes, please. And so they helped us out with publicity. And by middle of April, we were putting out one a week.
Wow. Well, let's take a look at Viral Vignettes, just a little piece of the trailer, and then we're going to talk more about it.
Okay.
Growing concern over a growing health crisis.
More reported cases.
A state of emergency has been declared.
Tell residents to stay home.
America closed for
1,600 Americans now are infected.
Thousands of Americans nationwide already under voluntary self-quarantine.
Out on Broadway are entering a new way of life. All because of the coronavirus. What was that?
Strange times, huh?
Strange times.
You're not buying the rumors, I hope.
Mom, they are not rumors.
How'd you get this number?
I'm calling from the U.S. Census Bureau.
I guess this whole virus stuff is making me hypersensitive.
That was sketch.
I can't believe we lost our whole senior year.
It's like they just want to keep us busy so we don't go outside and actually enjoy ourselves.
I'm desperate to get laid.
TMI, you know.
Would you like to get lucky?
You had phone sex with my maid of honor.
Hey, well, you can't come to my house. You know why? Because I'm practicing the social distancing.
Is that a martini?
Vodka.
It's 10 o'clock in the morning.
It's gotta be 5 o'clock somewhere, Bubba.
It's no way to live.
Zoom? What the hell's Zoom?
Oh my goodness, that looks like so much fun.
We got so many great actors. We got so many terrific. We got Barry Bostwick, who was on The Office and was the first Danny Zuko on Broadway in Grease and was in Rocky Horror Picture Show. We got Renee Taylor, who was the mom on The Nanny. Legendary people. John Schneider from Dukes of Hazzard.
You got heavy hitters.
We got heavy hitters.
Heavy hitters. What was the process like for Zoom? What was it like?
Well, okay, so the Zoom came later. Early on, we were using FaceTime and Skype, and I have the capability of bringing people together, but recording their voices and their faces separately so that I could edit them later. So I was able to do edited versions. So we did some cold readings, and they did this stuff, and finding the actors was really kind of, it was both fun and energizing and exhausting all at the same time. Every time we got somebody to say yes, it was great. Everybody was home. Nobody was doing anything. So in that sense, people were saying yes if they were climbing the walls like we were.
Right.
Like, I'm so bored. I want to do something. I want to contribute something. And other people were like, you know what, I'm too, you know, there were people who were just at the bottom of, and it was
an emotional journey.
It was an emotional time.
It was an emotional time.
And some people were like, this is the only thing that cheered me up. I mean, the people who did it loved doing it and said, I would do it again. They were grateful to me, which I was stunned because I was so grateful to them. And we did one a week for 11 weeks. And then I said, I can't do one more. Certain things were going on. It was the end of the school year, so my daughter was now not hanging out on a virtual schoolroom anymore, and she needed attention. She wasn't being able to see her friends. She wasn't able to do anything except on Zoom. And, like all parents, I wanted to make sure that I was there for her, and I couldn't be doing this and doing that. So although I wanted to continue doing it, even if I just took a break from it, 11 episodes and we were done. And then a year later, we came back to do one more episode to put a cap on it so that we could turn it into a feature film.
And that you did, turned it into a feature film, and you're going to be screening it. Let's talk about that at the TNEC International Film Festival.
This is pretty exciting for me. I grew up in TNEC. The TNEC Theater was my theater. So to be, we were in a bunch of festivals, and some of the individual shorts were in festivals in theaters. But this is the first time, worldwide premiere, folks, that we're going to have the film screened in a theater, and it's a really nice theater.
It is.
And the TNEC Film Festival has been around for like 19 years, and it's just become one of the more respected film festivals.
Both respectable, respected.
Yeah. The nice thing is the festival, which calls itself the Festival with the Social Conscience,
yes.
which I call lights, camera, activism.
I love that.
The nice thing about that, you look at that and it's a lot of documentaries, and I'm really thrilled that they took ours because one, it was made it was activism itself because we raised money for the Actors Fund. It was, I think, therapeutic for the people who watched it. I hope it was. Gave them a little bit of laughter in a time when laughter during lockdown. It was what was going on now. The stories of these people were the stories of all of us. And in fact, the stories linked together. Originally, they were just going to be an anthology. And then you start to find out, if you're watching the episodes, that Donnie Most in this episode is actually married to Linda Pearl in another episode. And you sort of, if you're watching all the episodes, you start to get that. But when you watch it as a feature, you realize, oh, this is one story that all comes together by the end. And although there are a lot of little mini stories, Don's story in this is a really interesting arc because it's about mental health.
So important.
He starts out, and there's a comedic element to it, but he starts out sort of freaking out about everything that's going on. Then a few episodes later, he falls in love with his therapist. And by the end, he's wearing like a hazmat suit and refuses to leave the house.
Wow.
And so we actually got an award from a film festival that was all about mental health. So there is an element of social activism in this.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the TNEC International Film Festival is, yes, awesome. Our partner, friend to Dreamers Unite, Jeremy Lentz, executive producer, friend, personal friend of mine, and friend to the show. So Jeremy will be coming on too to talk more about the festival
Jeremy's
as well.
a great guy, and he's really, his passion for this festival is just, I've gotten to know him a little bit, and they're he's a great person, and the people working on it, the volunteers and the people who are putting their time and effort into it. The festival itself, it looks like the lineup is amazing.
Spectacular. It is. Well, we're sending some love hearts to the TNEC International Film Festival and Jeremy Lentz and all the hardworking people that are there. And I'm proud to be, like a partner and volunteer with the festival as well. So
Definitely.
I enjoy that TNEC International Film Festival and am proud to be a part of it. So please tell everyone, look in your camera, which is that one there. Tell everyone when Viral Vignettes is going to be screened.
So Viral Vignettes is going to be on Saturday, November 11th at the TNEC Cinema in Teaneck, New Jersey. I believe around 4:30. So if you get there 4:30, you should be in time. There'll be a talk back afterwards with me, but you don't have to stay for that. And sometimes it's okay.
Don't listen to that. You have to stay for the talk back.
Okay, well, I'll stay for the talk back, that's for sure. Maybe my parents will stay for the talk back. And there'll be a couple of the writers are there. Most of the actors live in LA. A lot of them wanted to come, but they couldn't. But I think one or two of the local actors, and I know a lot of the writers are going to be there, so that should be cool. Maybe they'll come up on stage with me.
Yeah, that would be amazing. And also, you know what, laughter, writing, this kind of comedy. When I was, when I looked at it and I saw it, even looking now at it, I can't help but laugh again. And I've seen it, but I had to laugh again because it's funny. It'll
be nice to watch it with a full audience as opposed to just like people watching it at home on their own, which is a whole different thing.
Yeah, which is a whole different thing. And one last thing about this before I want to talk a little bit about your career as well, coming from MTV. But how difficult was it to keep the actors on script? Because, with comedy, improv, or did they stay on script?
Mostly they stayed on script. If they went off the script a little bit, if it fit, then I edited it in. It wasn't that difficult. Some of them came up with some good lines, and they kept up. But the scripts were pretty tight, and they were really good. Not all of them were off book. But another thing I want to say about the actors, the actors were some of my favorite actors growing up. We reached out to a lot of people. Because of the people that the actors knew, most of who we got were like seniors, people who were from classic TV shows from the 70s and the 80s. Not so many younger people, which I would have been happier, and people a more diverse group. I did reach out to a lot of people, and it just, it pained me that I didn't have more people of color, of different colors, of different ages. It ended up being a very senior demographic. Right. Don knew people that he had worked with over the years. Right. Barry knew people, So we got a couple of younger people. There were a couple of people who got away, which I was like, and I can't mention names, but they were like, oh my God. But the people we got legendary people. And at a certain point I said, okay, I got to lean into who I have.
That's right.
As much as I would have loved to have had a much more, because everybody was going through this,
For sure.
Everybody, not just a bunch of old people. We had a couple of younger cast members, as you could see. Yeah. So we went with who we had. If we had gone a couple more weeks, I think we would have had a slightly more diverse cast. Yeah. That's my biggest regret of this whole thing, but I'm really proud of what we were able to accomplish with zero budget and very minimal resources. And the people that said yes were ready to say yes. And we didn't have time to wait for people who were sort of, and the other part about it, I hope I'm not going on too long, but every person I spoke to, I said, come into this with a certain attitude. You're bored. You want to have some fun. You want to do some good. If you need me to get in touch with your agent or start negotiating, this is probably not the project for you. Mm-hmm. If you're doing this for the Actors Fund and because you're climbing the walls like I am, and this is going to be something that's good for you, then by all means do it. But if it's going to be something that your heart is not in, don't do it, because I don't want somebody to come back later and say, you cheated me, you did this, you did that. Come at it from this other attitude, the same attitude that I'm trying to come at it with. And every single one of those people came on with the attitude of, yes, we're doing this for the Actors Fund. We're doing this because we're bored. We're doing this because maybe we can bring some entertainment to people who are out there.
Yeah, and ultimately, I think they were doing it because they wanted to make a difference, right?
And they were really good scripts.
And they were good scripts. And I'm glad, though, we talked a little bit about it offline. I'm glad that you did mention the fact that you wanted more diversity. You wanted to have, more people of color. You wanted to be really a well-rounded, because everyone was going through it.
It was
more
the first thing.
Age and age ranges and a diverse group of people. But as you said, I'm glad, and we're glad that you did. Sometimes we just have to meet ourselves and people and our project where we are.
Yeah,
so
thanks.
Please come out or go out. TNEC International Film Festival, Viral Vignettes, November 11th, correct? Saturday, November 11th, TNEC Cinemas. So do not miss it. And make sure that you are going to be prepared to laugh a lot and have a really good time. So let's just talk a little bit about you as an MTV producer. Just tell us, how did you get into television, and what inspired you to do that?
I watched way too much TV. Which, you know, my mom said, David, you're watching way too much TV and you're reading way too many comic books. And years later, I said, it was all research. So that's all that problem. I always wanted to do it. I always wanted to make TV. When I was really young, I was on a kids show called Wonderama. That was really the only thing at that point that you could go on when you were a kid back then. And it's what I aimed for. So when I got to college, I was at Rutgers. I started the Rutgers TV station way back when. And then MTV was not my first place that I went to, but I did a lot of work for AMC and Bravo and USA. And, you know, I had a very interesting career working for like all the different cable companies and Nickelodeon and Nick at Night. And then I was doing work for Warner Brothers, and they worked. It was just so you know, it was the 20th anniversary of Woodstock. And Warner Brothers owned the rights to Woodstock, and they went to MTV, and they said, and I did a little short pilot for them, Woodstock Minutes. And Woodstock Minutes was sold to MTV, and MTV said, do you want to work on it? And I said, yes, thank you. And I got to do dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of Woodstock Minutes, which back then, since MTV was just music videos, would fold in. So they would run 3 or 4 or 5 of them an hour. And I got to interview like everybody who was at Woodstock practically, which was one of the, oh my God, I get to,
that must have been an amazing
experience. Joni Mitchell out to dinner, you know, it's like, oh my God, you know. So I'm like, okay, I like MTV. So I did freelancing for MTV. I did a lot of work for other places as well. I did one project in the mid-'90s for the American Cancer Society, the American Lung Association, and the American Heart Association, which is the only time they've ever done anything together, and did a thing called the Smoke-Free Class of 2000, which I directed and helped write. And one of the 13-year-old kids who started it was a really talented kid named Jordan Peele.
Wow, Jordan Peele.
Yeah. So, you know, so I've worked with lots of people, but he was really talented even then.
Do you still keep in touch with him?
Boy, that'd be nice. Jordan, give me a call. I ran into him.
David Levin.
I ran into him at a producer's thing about a week after he won the Oscar.
Wow.
And I went up to him and I said, I don't know if you remember me, but blah, blah, blah. Oh my God. He turns to the person he's with. He gives me a big hug. He goes, this is the first guy who ever directed me in a TV show. Oh, that was kind of cool. And then I said, so, and it was a week after the Oscars. I said, so what have you been up to? So when he was done cracking up, we chatted for a very brief time, and then, you know.
That is beautiful. That's so good to hear that, Jordan Peele. We'd like to hear those kind of stories, that you didn't just be like, I don't remember you, and don't talk to me, and there's my bodyguard.
Yeah, he was a sweet kid. He's a sweet guy.
And talented. Not only that, but extremely talented.
Yeah, so that was kind of a cool thing. I went back to MTV, and then I worked for them. I created a bunch of shows for them and did a lot of work for them. And then after that, and I created a show called MTV Uncensored for them. Right. Mm-hmm. Later, I went on to create TV Land Confidential for TV Land, which was like MTV Uncensored for TV Land. Got to meet, that's where I met a lot of these actors, interviewed hundreds and hundreds of actors. Hugged Barbara Eden.
I Dream of Jeannie.
Be Still My Heart.
Jeannie.
Be Still My Heart. Barbara Eden. Got to meet hundreds of people, and it was just, you know, my career has been varied and fun, and, you know, I'm really enjoying it.
That is awesome, and I'm enjoying having you here. And before we move into our next segment, I just have one more question for you, and that is, we always like to inspire our dreamers with some kind of offering, one maybe tangible, 1 or 2 steps that if someone were interested in, you know, being in television as a producer or just trying to enter into that television space, what's 1 or 2 offerings you could give our dreamers?
This is both the best and the worst time ever to break into TV. But easier than it was when I was there, okay? First of all, you have an entire TV studio in your pocket. Getting access to a camera when I started was impossible. The barrier to entry back then was $1 million for broadcast quality equipment. The barrier to entry now is $1,000 for a phone, or $100 for a phone, and $1,000 for a computer. That's the barrier to entry. So you can practice and get good and do all your worst stuff when you're young and stupid and try everything and you have all your friends around you. Do it. Just do it and do really bad stuff, because that'll get you to the really good stuff. The barrier to entry is lower because there's a lot more opportunities now. However, if you think of the amount of work available as a pizza, when I was growing up, there were 3 networks, which means that the pizza was split 3 ways, and anybody who made it onto that pizza was making a lot of money. Now the pizza is split into linguine. Every slice is a tiny sliver. So the amount that you can make is much less if you don't get to a certain level. There's money to be made on YouTube. You can make a living on YouTube.
Yeah, and people are.
People are. But it's really hard to get to that point. But it was really hard for me to get to my point. So the pathways are more diverse now than they were. The ability to get better at your craft is easier than it was. But you have to be really good. You have to be really good, and you have to work really hard.
Okay. Well, listen, we're going on to our next segment, but before we move on, I'm catching one nugget for you.
Yeah.
And that is, you have to be really good no matter what field you're in, no matter what you're doing. Be really good and work really, really hard. You don't know this yet, but on Dreamers, I catch a lot of nuggets, so just give me that nugget right there. Thank you. And boom. There you go, Dreamers. There's that nugget for you to catch. So now we are moving on to our next segment. We have a caller,
okay,
who is going to ask you a question, because we feel like it's very important. I have access to a David Levin, but not everyone does, and it's important that we have some more engagement.
Sure.
So are you ready to answer a question?
Whatever you got, throw it at me.
All right. Question and answer segment coming up next with David Levin. And we are back with David Levin for a question for you. So team, let's roll it.
Hey David, I'm a film and TV student at Montclair State, and I was wondering if there's any film festivals that you recommend. I'm familiar with your work at the TNEC Film Festival, but if there's any others you recommend, I would definitely be interested in hearing about them.
Oh my God.
That's a great question.
Wow, it's a great question, and I don't know if I have a really good answer, but there are a couple that were really successful for me. First of all, go to filmfreeway.com. That is where all the festivals are. The first thing I would do is find the ones that are free. That's a really good idea, because then you get into the festivals, or not. A friend of mine told me you need to try 19 festivals, and maybe you'll get one. So I had another film before Viral Vignettes called Harvest Time, which starred Anson Williams and Don Most of Happy Days fame, and Beth Littleford of The Daily Show fame and other shows. Anyway, so I put them up on Film Freeway, went to 20 different ones, and they said, maybe you'll get into 1 or 2, and we got into 13.
Wow.
Which was really cool. So one, the New York International Film Festival, which is kind of a virtual festival, I found was very successful for the Viral Vignettes. There was another one, oh God, was it called the Feedback? Boy, there was like the Feedback Festival, which was really great. It was, LA has one, Toronto has one. I wish I'll send you that stuff and you can put it in later.
Yeah, we'll put some links in.
Put some links in. which was really interesting because after we did those films, they had people watch them and give reviews of those films. And it was really interesting to hear the feedback of the people who were reviewing the films because they were just, that's a really good one. You know, it's funny because my niece, who inspired me to put them into film festivals, did a web series, first time out of the shot, first time out of college, and she got into Tribeca. First time out, you know, like 24 years old with her friends, they'd made it, and it was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And so I was inspired by her to go into other film festivals. Didn't make it into Tribeca, but I was so proud of her. And so said, okay, well, you know, I'll do that. And so we made it into a bunch of film festivals. The specific ones, I'll send a couple. I'll send you a couple of links to ones. I can't think of them offhand. Some of them were easier to get into. And I think, you know, if there are some that are, I hate to say less picky, that's a good way to start, though.
Yeah.
But also go for the less expensive ones. Some of them can run you a lot of money. If you're going to do, and I had to raise money on Seed and Spark. Our entire budget for viral vignettes was zero. And so I did a crowdfund so that we could get it into some film festivals, and we got into a lot, and we got a lot of good feedback and awards, and I was really happy about that.
Yeah, and congratulations on all of that. We saw in the beginning all the awards that you received. And caller, I hope that answered your question. And yeah, we will try to put, you know, when you tell us, we'll definitely, Dreamers, get some links in there for you. So that way you can find, and festivals are an important way to get your work out. So it doesn't just stay stuck in a drawer.
And there are monthly festivals, and then there are annual festivals. I mean, if you want to try to go for the big festivals, by all means, take your swing like my niece did. But try the smaller festivals because you're more likely to get some traction.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, David. We are going to move on to our dream game.
Okay.
You ready?
I guess so.
All righty. The dream game is up next with David Levin. We'll be right back. We are back. It is time to play the dream game with David Levin. So this game is really not intimidating because it's all about you and your dreams.
Okay.
All right. So first question, are you living your childhood dream?
Mostly.
Yeah. What part are you living?
I'm healthy. My wife and kid and parents and family are healthy. And I am mostly working in the industry that I wanted to be working in.
That is a beautiful answer. You know, you're like the first person that was like, I'm healthy. That is huge. Yeah, because it is a dream for all of us to just grow up and be healthy. And we don't even consider that sometime as part of our dream. But we've all reached that part if we're healthy, breathing, and well. So that's huge. Wow. Another big nugget for me and a little aha moment.
Am I winning?
That. You're winning.
Okay, good.
You are winning. Yes. Next. Ding, 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 ding. Next question. What do you think, or who is your greatest inspiration?
Currently, it's my family. Currently, it's my family.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, family, you should be so proud. David, we're so proud of you. Yeah. So, you know, it takes a lot to have your dream actualize and to have it manifest, right? And dreams shift and all of that. But how do you stay focused, or how did you stay focused on your goal or your vision or your heart's desire? How did you stay focused on that?
By shifting my goal and my heart's desire as circumstances changed. I originally wanted to make movies. My career took me in a different path. The young me would have said, no, you're getting off the path. But while I was going through it, I'm like, oh, I'm liking this. Oh, I'm liking this. Oh, this was fun. I'm doing that. And I wasn't as focused as I should be in a way, because people say if you want to get a level of success or not, or people know you, you need to focus on one thing. But hey, over here, I get to work with these people. Over here, I get to write a Superman comic. Oh, over here, I get to, work with some other people. Oh, here, I get to do a music video. Oh, here, I get to do a documentary. Oh, here, I get to work with kids to create a show that wins an Emmy and work with Jordan Peele. So I didn't foresee that pathway. I wanted to make movies. But by following this pathway, I've had a really fun career. I'm old enough to retire, but I don't want to retire. I got to make a feature film, which was on my bucket list. It wasn't the way I expected it to be, calling lights, camera, action in the field. But it's kind of done. So, if you find something that's working better, go in the direction of success, because it'll lead you back to your original goal.
Yes. Go follow your path, I think, is the thing. And also follow your heart.
Let your dreams change.
And your dreams do
or
shift.
Evolve. Yeah.
And evolve, yeah. But guess what? You really did actualize your dream, because you wanted to make films, and you did.
Took a long time. I realized when I was 30, my friend and I were talking, he goes, I'm very depressed now that we're 30. I said, why? He goes, because we're not going to be prodigies or wunderkinds now. I said, okay, well, we'll be, I don't know, Colonel Sanders, Grandma Moses, we'll find our course when we're old.
Well, and you know what? Listen, I think dreams also, as we talk about dreams, that's why I love that your answer was, to be healthy is part of the dream. Everyone's dream is not to be super famous or to be rich or to be, I think most people really, I think the dream, and if you can live to be your truest, most authentic, who you are, and live in your passion and purpose, I think that is so huge. And everything else, I do really believe, whatever it is, the money, not everybody needs as much money as others, I definitely want to create generational wealth because I want to serve greater, you know what I mean? And you want to serve greater. So I think, again, it depends on what your path is. And you said it really, really eloquently.
But let's not kid ourselves. It'd be great to be super rich.
Yeah, let's not kid ourselves.
I'm not gonna say don't be super rich.
Yeah,
yes, I've achieved my dream, but I'm poor.
Oh, I love it. No, we don't want you poor. Like I said, I'm trying to create generational wealth. Let me be clear. I'm not saying we don't want to make money. I'm with you, okay? Because listen, we want to make some money here. Part of our dreams coming true, we do want to make money. We want it to manifest.
It's there.
It's there.
But you won't. But if that's all you want, you might as well be an investment banker. Honestly, I mean, if all you want is the money, there are better ways to get there than by doing what we're doing. But this is more fun.
Well, listen, a dream is a dream, no matter if it's an investment banker, attorney, whatever, or as Dr. Martin Luther King said, listen, if you are a street sweeper, be the best street sweeper you can be. That doesn't mean that anyone is not worthy. And we all know that money does not make you happy. Because if you're not happy before you have money, however, I know everybody's saying to themselves, but let me just try. But listen, if that were the case, we know so many famous people that have taken their lives or, just totally not happy. So we know that that's not our only goal.
You want enough money so that you don't have to worry about money.
That's right. You want to be financially independent.
That's all you need. You need to be at the place where you're making a living doing what you want to be doing. That's the dream.
There you go. Yeah, that's the dream. So you're living your dream, right?
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. So you've had an illustrious career. So many people have been in your life to help you. And I feel like gratitude is really important, just to be grateful for what we have and the people that have helped us along the way. So one day I will have a Dreamers Unite award. I don't today. But if you were to receive an award for Dreamers Unite, and you've received many on your film, but who would you like to thank?
Too many. You don't get here by yourself.
That's right.
You know, my parents, certain teachers I've had, friends who have been supportive, people who've given me opportunities. And if I could mention one person, it would be leaving out too many other people. I did not get here by myself by any stretch of the imagination. And so many faces are running through my head right now. It's crazy, you know? But I will say this, because I look at my parents now who are still with us. That's and great. Are, you know, just turned 90, both of them. I think what keeps them alive is gratitude. I am grateful every single day, and I'm not saying that out of any sense of platitude. Like every day, I thank my wife, and whether you believe in, you know, God or whatever, I'm just really thankful for whatever it is that brought me here. It's not been an easy path. There have been obstacles. There have been times when I've cursed whatever forces were out there. And the path has not been straight, as I've sort of mentioned. Sometimes it's been fraught with obstacles that have been placed in front of me or that I've placed in front of myself. And I finally got to a place where I said, nah, screw it. You know, it's like I'm going to try, you know, doing the movie, doing Vignettes took a bunch of phone calls, but that's all it took. And a little bit of chutzpah, a little bit of saying, what the heck? What are they going to do? Fire me, kill me? You know, I can do this. So I'm going to make those phone calls. And I was so thrilled and surprised and grateful. If you look at every single interview I've done with those people since we did the thing, or every conversation I've had, or every email I've sent to them, it's like it always ends with thank you, thank you, thank you. So thank you for this. This is awesome.
Oh, you just touched my heart. I feel like I almost, there's some things that you just said that just warmed my spirit and my soul. So thank you for that.
I'm thinking of starting my own religion. So that's, you know, okay. Just kidding. Okay. Kidding. That would be.
That's why I'm laughing.
That would be wrong.
Yeah, that's why I'm laughing. So the last question, and the dream game has been easy, right?
Okay.
It's a lot of fun.
This is going to be tough.
This is the last question. It's going to be really tough.
The toughest question was the film festival question. But okay, go ahead.
Yes, this is really not tough, but it is, you know, the dreams that are on the horizon for you, because this is a community where, you know, we are dreaming together, we're sharing, we want to help people reach their goal and dream by any means necessary. And so what's on the horizon for you? What's your next dream that we can affirm with you?
Okay. First time saying this in public. Well, first of all, I want to make another movie. That would be great. That's easy. That's the easy one.
Okay.
I would like to launch, God, to say this out loud, an interactive television network.
That's good. Juicy. Launch an interactive television company. You're hearing it first right here on Dreamers Unite. I think that's powerful. That's amazing. First of all, it just takes such courage and bravery to sometimes just speak what's on our heart. So I'm going to applaud you for speaking that, and then we're just going to claim and affirm it with you.
Okay.
And then you're going to come back and you're going to tell us.
And then you're going to want me to hire you to be on the internet.
That's absolutely
TV.
right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You are absolutely right. So we can get our millions, right? Crew, team. Yeah, that's absolutely it. You know, I just think it's really beautiful to share a piece of yourself, a piece of your journey. And I am grateful, really, and I'm so glad that Jeremy put us in touch. Yes. I'm glad that I could be sort of the vehicle to even allow you for the first time ever to really say the dream that's on the horizon for you. So if people want to get in touch with you, how can they do it?
That's a really good question. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn.
What's your, some of your...
let's see.
Might be somebody out there trying to help you make your dream come true.
You can go to brainstorm-inc.com. and there's a contact information there. It's probably the best way to get in touch with me.
Okay, amazing. All right.
Oh, and popcultureculturetv.com and popcultureculture.tv.
Okay. And that's YouTube. That's on YouTube, Pop Goes the Culture, right?
Okay, Pop Goes the Culture TV is on YouTube, and I put up a lot of content on there, a lot of the interviews I've done over the years, and new stuff too.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I checked it out. It's wonderful.
Thanks.
I subscribed too.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Yes. So, David Levin, you have been a delight, a pleasure, and a joy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for, bringing your words of wisdom, your talent, and all the nuggets that I caught personally, and I was able to share them with this community. So I really do appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Don't forget to come to the TNEC Film Festival. Tickets are on sale now, and they're $10. But if you show up at the door, they're $15. So that's a lot more. That's 33% more money. So get your tickets early.
Yeah, get your tickets early. TNEC International Film Festival. It starts November 9th. So, and of course, Viral Vignettes is being screened on November 11th.
A lot of good movies this year.
Lots of good movies. You have to go to the website. We'll put the link in for you, so you'll have all the information. Well, dreamers, I know what you're saying. I don't want this to end. You know what I say. All good things have to come. I'm not even going to say an end anymore. Maybe just to a close. That there is a new beginning on the horizon. So you can always come. We have more content, so stay tuned for our upcoming episodes. So it's a new beginning here all the time. So please feel free to subscribe. Follow us at Dreamers Unite Show on IG, on Facebook. We need your support as well. I thank you so much every time you come here. I hope you caught many, many nuggets. For now, this is me signing off. Sherri Pullum. I'll see you again soon on Dreamers Unite in the studio.